It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Steve.
Steve, I have neglected, and I apologize. We received a message, and I even put it on our planning sheet here, but we received a message from our friend of the show, Will Egan.
Black coffee tastes roughly 4% as good as it smells.
Kyle.
The obituary for a man named Dennis Brown.
Oh, well, Dennis had a good life.
R.I.P. Denny.
Okay, well, you know what? Thank you for your services to his family, because it looks like he's deceased. You got a slide whistle or something that we can bring it back to the joy of the discussion of C.G. Johnson? So our thanks to Sineward.
Live on tape from APS 3 point whatever, it's the Steve and Kyle podcast.
What you got over there?
Steve?
It's spooky coffee season, right?
Steve, I am glad you asked.
We're just gonna do this, huh? We're just gonna get right into it.
What I have brought today for not just me.
You know, I noticed that when you walked in, you kind of had something like tucked behind your back. What do you got over there?
And I'm glad you asked, because I don't want to wait any longer, because as everybody knows, coffee gets cold, and if you drink cold coffee, you're a sadist.
That's what they say. Coffee gets cold.
Yep.
I think I saw that on a cross stitch one time at
hanging on the wall,
my grandmother's house,
right next to
coffee,
Live, Laugh, Love.
Coffee, It gets cold.
It's an old Chinese proverb.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel like people who drink cold coffee have some real self-loathing and hatred about themselves.
When you say cold coffee, are you saying like cold brew? Or what about like an iced latte, something or other? Really?
All of it. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous.
I enjoy a good iced mocha latte.
Yeah, it's the thing. You know, iced coffee and cold brew is the thing.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change my mind that I think you all have some sense of self-loathing and anger.
Okay.
That you need to work out with a therapist, because coffee's meant to be hot. Okay. That's what great grandpappy said.
That was another cross stitch, because we have coffee gets cold.
Yeah.
And then right next to it, coffee is meant to be hot.
Yep. And then
you said that was great grandpappy?
Great grandpappy came up with that saying, is coffee is meant to be hot. The first one who said it. A real innovator of the game. But yes, Steve.
I would love to get those cross-stitched.
If anybody cross-stitches and you're really bored.
Maybe with a little cup.
Yeah.
A little coffee cup with a
swirl of steam.
The little hot steam lines coming
only
off the top of it.
Only the second one can have the steam lines of swirly steam lines.
And then maybe the other one can just have a cup with no swirly steam lines, but then with the circle around it and the slash through it to show that's cold coffee. Not happening here.
And then, again, if you have time, maybe a crude side profile of great grandpappy.
Like a double exposure kind of thing. Okay.
So what I brought for you today.
Someone get to it. Yeah, pass that over.
I am thrilled to provide to you. Now, I didn't pour you a full cup.
All right. Look at that. In the old purple insulated cup with the I'm a doctor.
You're a nurse
sign
practitioner. Congratulations to you and my wife, who apparently are going through the same education, Steve.
Side note.
Yeah.
Do you have an issue? No, I know that you don't, because I'm the only one that in the world that does this.
Now I'm interested.
Okay, so this cup right here, it's got the logo on it.
Yeah.
It's got the little insulated cap on it.
Yeah.
I cannot take a sip from this.
Okay. You don't like the lid, huh?
Unless the lid is lined up with the logo.
Okay, well, that's what we call OCD. Right? Wouldn't that be OCD?
I think so. Like, if you look at this cup here, because I have a menagerie of cups today.
Yeah.
This one, the spout lined up directly with the logo.
Sure.
The logo has to be facing me.
Oh, wow. Okay, man.
I actually have, in about a little over a week, I have my yearly physical. I want to ask my doctor about stuff like this. This is the kind of stuff that I bore the hell out of my doctor with. When I go in there, I'll be like, hey, sometimes I got this thing where, I get out of bed and blah, blah, blah. And he'll just be like, no, that's not a thing. That's not a sickness. That's not a condition.
Well, without getting overly, and granted, neither of us are doctors. Neither of us have.
I'm drinking from the doctor cup.
Right.
So,
but I would argue,
ergo,
and I would think that is either not a precursor, but a sign of some underlying, like anxiety, right?
Well, I mean, I've diagnosed anxiety and depression. Yes.
Okay.
So it's
because and again, we're not getting deep here. I brought you coffee for crying out loud in the spooky season.
I'm still waiting to take a sip.
But I am having the same debate in my own head because I want to go to the doctor. Maybe not the physical doctor, because I am almost positive I have some pretty serious anxiety issues myself, just based on the way, I don't know, I've always been the way when I'm at something, even at a theme park, a sporting event, whatever. My mind is always, how am I going to get out of here? When are we leaving?
What's going to happen?
What's next?
Yeah.
I want to make sure this is seamless. We got to do this. I don't want to miss this. And it's constantly refusing to enjoy the moment, or anything around it.
So,
and I'm constantly worrying about, hey, what can I, what's next? How are we going to get through what's next?
So are you when you go on vacation?
Yeah.
Are you a vacation planner or a vacation relaxer?
We're planners. I'm an over planner, and I typically end up apologizing to Katie for that.
Yeah.
So I tried to reduce my vacation planning for our trip to Boston, and that ended with a Boston Red Sox game, a half-day trip to Salem, I believe, and then we had a ghost tour at night that was booked in advance. So we had still 3 to 4 things, and then a few things that we knew we were going to do. We just didn't know when. So it was still pretty planned. And I leave, and I'm like, I'm glad I was able to do all of those, but it was the least relaxing vacation.
Yeah, it's weird because it's very relatable what you're talking about right now about the wanting to plan things. But I'm able to compartmentalize where like work, I am very regimented. It's
like your schedule.
I do this at this time. While this is uploading, I'm able to do this because then I have multiple things going at the same time. I try to be as efficient as possible.
Yep.
But when it comes to vacation, and Annette and I we've argued about this in the past because she's a vacation planner. She wants to, Monday we're doing this.
Yep.
And then Tuesday we're going to the beach. And then Wednesday we're going to dinner at this place. And I'm just like, when I'm on vacation or something like that, I'm just like, I just kind of want to I'm able to completely pull a 180 and go the opposite way and just be like, I don't know. If we go here, cool. If not, whatever. You want to go to the amusement park? Great. Oh, they're closed today? No big deal. I'm able to switch it on and off, which is weird.
Yeah. I have so few vacations I plan where we're not doing anything. And by few, I mean essentially zero.
Yeah.
I typically only take time off when I know we're either going somewhere, doing something, have something planned, whatever.
Right.
So when we're always kind of on the go on my vacation and then we get back, I don't really have that time to be like, I don't really care. Let's sit around. I feel like, and I don't know how people do it, part of me wants to be able to do it. If I had a week-long vacation and I just didn't do anything, right? I didn't do any of the, hey, let's go fix that, siding on the house.
Right.
Let's go get this done on the roof or the whatever. If I didn't do any of that and I just went back to work the following week, I can't help escape this feeling that I would feel so awful about my whole existence and week off specifically.
Yeah.
That I would struggle with that.
Because I am, as you know, I am a project doer.
Yes. You're not waiting around for it when you think something has to be done. No, I'm not saying you're not planning it.
Right.
But I'm saying when you think, hey, trim needs to be done, floor needs to be done. Boom, I'm going to do this step, this step, and this step.
I have an hour to kill here. I could probably get these 3 pieces done. But
would you say you're a pretty good estimator on how long things like that will take you as well? Okay,
terrible.
So you have a bit of bob time with that.
I am so optimistic when I have the plans, because even something I did last night, I was like, this is going to take me 10 minutes, and it took a half hour, which is not a huge deal, but compound that if it's a project that should take 2 hours and now it takes 5 hours or 6 hours.
Extrapolating that 10 minutes to 30 minutes, it is only factually 20 minutes, but it's also a 200% misfire
right.
that would lead, again, your 2 hour project to a 6 hour project.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you think this is going to take me 2 minutes and it takes you 4 minutes, it's no big deal. But that's a much bigger project than... Yeah, I do that all the time, though, with vacations. I'll think, for the last year and a half, I've wanted to just straighten up that room next to us, the storage room in the basement. And I know that there's a bunch of stuff that I can get rid of. And there's still stuff in there from when I built this studio, which is nearly a year ago.
Yeah.
That's just sitting out, that I just moved from here into there, and I put it down and said, oh, I literally have to walk in, pick it up, and then walk over and put it in a toolbox.
Okay.
And I have
not done it.
Have found myself unable to do that. I started one day, and then I found something that I was like, I don't know. Should we keep this? Should we not keep this? It's kind of, it's a Nets. And then I asked her, and she was like, oh, I don't care. And then I just froze. I get that paralysis by analysis where I overthink things. When in the back of my head, I know that every single thing in that room, we could have a dumpster in the driveway. And if somebody came in while I was at work, took everything out of that room, threw it in the dumpster, and then the dumpster was taken away, I would have no idea, and I wouldn't miss it. There's not one thing in there. Oh, maybe one. The billboard artwork.
Oh, if that goes, this podcast ends because I will be so upset.
There's not one other thing in that room that I would say, oh, you threw out the box of stuff that I have from 3 houses ago.
Exactly. Right. That it's, boy, knowing this neighborhood too, just the implication that you might need a dumpster. Just wait long enough, a neighbor will do it or send you the quote.
Right. But
we digress. Steve, what I brought for you today, and hopefully it's not too cold at this point.
Sure, it's ice cold. You don't
Again, as we talked last week, the best way to drink coffee is...
wait, you don't do...
I just got the one slide lid and took that from myself. What I brought for you today is part of the seasonal collection of our friends over at Coffee AM, and by friends, I mean I'm just saying this now. This is called Mummy Mudslide, Steve. While you get the aromas, let me give you their description for it.
Yeah,
it is deeply rich chocolate swirled with vanilla, creating a creamy gourmet coffee. Has a spicy kick because they've added flavors that reminiscent to Kahlua and Irish cream, but rest assured, it's alcohol-free.
Okay. All right.
Arabica. Bean coffee blended with gourmet flavors. Make it hot or iced. Satisfy your chocolate cravings. There's only 2 calories in each cup. Oh. This is a medium roast with a taste of milk chocolate and cream and Mexican liqueur.
Okay. So, cheers.
Cheers.
I'm also
curious. So this is, same thing. So this is, I would consider this black coffee. There's no creamer in it outside of the flavors that, in the bean. Get in there. Really get that in there.
I definitely smell the notes of chocolate.
Really touching every area of the palate.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Boy, I taste nothing of what you said. There's no chocolate. There's no cream.
Okay.
It tastes like black coffee. It's fine. But...
Really?
Yeah. It's, I would say mild. Yes.
Okay.
Warm. Check. Coffee. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Tastes like Folgers to me.
Wow.
Yeah. See,
okay.
So you taste something...
Absolutely.
So if you had this and a cup of Senka, you'd be able to tell the difference.
Probably,
Nobody still drinks that, right?
There can't be. No chance. Okay. I'll put it on the poll.
Yeah. Do you enjoy a warm cup of Senka?
I should have brought you a cup of the Franken Fudge Brownie.
That's kind of what I was hoping for. I remember you saying that there was a fudge brownie, or there was something with a peanut butter too, right?
That has maple, walnut, vanilla, pecan, and rich fudge
By the
flavors.
way, we can get some Sanka. Oh, Sanka's decaf. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah. Sanka, yeah, I can buy a whole case of it for like $30.
Don't know why you do that to yourself. posting that on the poll. Well, you know what?
Do you like to start your Saturdays with a hot cup of Sanka?
I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And I'm not disagreeing with you entirely. I think coffee for me, it's coffee and wine are the two things that when you read all of those flavor profiles and what you should taste on your tongue, they're the hardest to pull through, I guess.
Yeah.
But I know when I take a drink of this, again, the Mummy Mudslide flavor, is I know for a fact what's left on my tongue is not a generic coffee flavor.
Yeah, I think, granted, I am I'm a novice when it comes to black coffee.
Sure.
So I'm sure that if you had 3 other kinds here, I'd be able to taste the difference. But I would have never said, like, oh, that's a chocolatey whatever taste.
Part of me kind of wants to do a rival coffee taste test and a rival tea taste test.
Are we doing a coffee flight?
You
want me to get like one of those little, like those paddles that has a little indentation cut in them?
And then what I would have you do is I'll have you take a sip out of all, 5 of them. And then I would have you, while you drink it, describe if you taste any different flavor and then rank them 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And to see the likelihood that, again, a cup of Folgers ends up being your number 1 somehow, right?
It definitely would, too.
So you think right now, based on what you have in that cup, and if you were to go upstairs, pour, right out of the big, whatever size drum of coffee beans that you buy at the store, or ground up coffee, and then you put a little cream and sugar in there, you think you would much prefer that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised you're coming back to coffee then with this attitude about coffee, I guess.
Yeah,
It seems like you've really embraced the tea universe.
Look, I'm a big fan. I am. It's always tea o'clock somewhere, as we know. So
for you to come back around and say, I want to dabble in tea again,
I'm open to new ideas. I'm open to new things.
Sure.
I am constantly looking to expand my horizons, and this is step 1. I may look back on this a year from now and think, that's the one. That's what did it. And I'm going to be a connoisseur. I'll be a coffee connoisseur.
Okay. Listen, and there are coffee jerks out there.
Oh yeah.
The people who, if you use a drip coffee, you're ruining the coffee.
You know what I want to try? I want to try that French press stuff.
We have it at home.
That looks. Does that make it taste any different? Or is it's just a fancy way to? It's an inconvenient way to make coffee.
Listen, Steve, just you and me here, right?
Yeah. What do we got?
The wife.
Listen, hold on. Hey, everyone else.
Can you just take off for a second,
Toby?
Staff,
lay over there.
Yeah, Toby, just be you.
Okay, just me and you. What do we got?
Katie dabbled in the French press thing, and it couldn't have been a bigger waste of time and money. We've got
the thing.
We got the hand grinder because you can't have a fine grind. You're supposed to have
like a gritty,
a coarse,
larger
grind, and then you put the beans, I believe, in a cylinder type thing,
right? And then it's like pressurized, right?
I don't know. I guess I never watched her make it. I just seen all the parts that are now stuck in a cupboard because we haven't used it in months because we have a drip coffee maker.
I'm sure they're conveniently sized too, so they fit right in there with any other cup or bowl or.
I will say
plate.
this for the French press, it does taste slightly different. Okay. For me, it's not enough to care, simply because I don't mind this flavor. Right, I don't mind the taste of coffee itself. So the desire to have some different sensation or whatever, I just don't really care.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's our. It's the Coffee Minute on the Steve and Kyle podcast. By the way, it is Saturday, October 1st, 2022, the year of our Lord.
Next week coming up, maybe some witch's brew. That has hints of praline, honey butter, cream, and Vermont maple in there.
Wasn't there one that you had that I thought that there was one that was peanut butter? Because I'm all in on peanut butter.
Yeah, I did. The peanut butter's gone. I had the last cup of it last week.
Right, and that was last week, so you no doubt ordered more.
Sure. So
how much are they? You get them on Amazon?
No, these were at the local apple orchard. They were selling them.
So when are you going back to get some?
If you want to go take a drive down there, they're actually open right now. If you could just pause for like 60 minutes.
Look, do you plan on going back there? Because if you do,
not for coffee, no.
Well, maybe you should.
No. You know what? Maybe.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I apologize. I'm a little distracted over here. There are a lot of good deals this morning on Facebook Marketplace today.
Is that what's going on?
Completely.
Is that what's going on when I'm monologuing
me.
and sitting here talking about God knows what?
Calling it a monologue is.
Listen, it's me and Jimmy Kimmel.
Look.
Okay, we're the two out there.
Look at this deal.
Okay.
$250 for this pop-up camper.
Let me stop you right there.
It's an 83 Sunlight pop-up camper. Sleep 6.
That would be what puts your family over the edge.
It's got a stove, a refrigerator, a heater, an awning. Mm-hmm. Needs a little work.
You think?
Look at this baby.
It's coming up on 40 years old.
Boy, it's an interesting paint scheme, which is no doubt stains. It just looks sad. Like this looks like
you would need a whole new infrastructure to make sure that bed doesn't simply fall to the ground.
Like this awning here it's actually shaped like a frown.
Yeah, and it's only what looks to be a 3 to 5 hour drive away for you.
Is it Elkhart, Indiana? Yeah.
Is this something you would go camping with, throw it behind?
Of course.
Okay. Like a Comanche camping trip where, again, you can't because your daughter can't sit in there?
You mean a Camp Manche? That's what I'm going to call it once I get it all set. The Camp Manche.
To, again, the two of you, because having the third ride in the front seat would be illegal because it's simply a bench. It's simply a bench.
Back in the 70s, everything was legal.
So 50 years ago... Your idea was great.
Yeah. But yeah, there are a lot of good deals this morning.
Why are you looking for accessories to the Comanche when currently we don't have a functioning Comanche as it is?
Look, you haven't seen the Comanche in how long? Months, right?
Yeah, I guess I'll let you mention it. Okay, so do I need to take a look at this thing today?
No. Sorry. Cannot reveal that to you. Let's just say
you have to know this makes me nothing but nervous.
Let's just say that progress has been slow.
It is. We are,
but steady. You know the tortoise and the hare.
I gotta tell you, I'd prefer the hare in this situation.
The Comanche is the tortoise. Maybe we'll call it the tortoise.
Okay.
So the Comanche's new name is the tortoise.
The tortoise-anchi?
The tortanchi.
It makes me nervous because right now we are officially today 50 days away from this parade. And I would argue we have, and I'm going to judge how correct I am based on your facial response here. Mm-hmm. I would argue we have a 25% chance of making this happen in the tortoise-anchi.
Toby,
the last conversation we had, and it wasn't even a conversation about the Comanche, it was on this very podcast 2 weeks ago, you directly asked me, how much do we need the Comanche for this parade thing?
Look, I have no doubt in my mind that the Comanche will be pulling us through this parade. No doubt in my mind. Will it be done to the extent that we want, where it has a wrap?
Okay, let's talk extent, because all we need is for this thing to get us down.
Yeah.
One road, presumably 1 mile. Okay?
Well, since I've bought it, I've driven it, since I bought it, I've driven it about 5 miles. So
we only need 20% of that effort.
Do you want an update? Do you want to know where we stand?
I kind of do, but only because I want to know. For me and for the audience, do we need to start bracing for the fact of one more loose end for the Steve and Kyle podcast when we're not in this parade in 50 days?
No. Nonsense. Progress has, again, been slow, but steady.
And you could use that phrase for 2 years ago this week. last year, this week.
Oh, 2 years ago at this time, I was flying.
This is because you just had it.
I was getting so much done.
And by flying, you mean you were fully deconstructing it because you just took everything off it and started from scratch.
I will tell you, more is going on than is coming off. So, I have turned the corner.
So you would argue on the bell curve of the Jeep Comanche project, you have now reached that top.
Yeah.
And you are on the back half, the downhill portion of the bell curve.
Of the simply getting it to run and drive, yes. Appearance-wise, still looks like hell. Looks terrible. But
I don't care about appearance at all.
Okay, good. And honestly, this podcast doesn't deserve something too nice. I mean, look, if we pulled up and we're in like a brand new Lincoln Navigator,
sure, that would look out of sorts.
We do not deserve that at all. We deserve exactly what we're getting: a multicolored 30-something, 37-year-old, 34-year-old, whatever, Jeep Comanche. That is exactly our lot in life.
Well, let you said steady, but slow, which implies that progress has still been happening. Can you give me and the people who care, again, I want those separate parties, a little bit of a hint as to where you're at, and if you have a new timeline, which really mean nothing because...
No. I've given up on...
Even estimating?
On timelines. Because my timelines used to be, oh man, it would be great if by the summer I could do this, or by Christmas I could have that. My timelines are now, when I walk out into the garage, I think, oh, if I could be done this by tonight, I'd be happy. I'm much more short-term these days than I am long-term.
Okay. We've bypassed not deadlines, but we've bypassed estimates of going vroom up the sandhill on your birthday.
Oh, yeah,
multiple times now.
Yeah, missed that by a couple of years.
And
can I show you some photos?
Please do.
Okay, so if you remember, maybe you don't. The floor at one point of the Comanche was completely rusted out.
Okay,
there was nothing but rust all in here, over here, all the way to the front of the vehicle. This is the back of the cab right now. The front of the cab would be, steering wheel. This is the steering wheel up here.
Got it.
So all of this that's in black has been replaced.
Okay.
This was a little rust spot there. That's been...
So just based on my car expertise and seeing the size of what you've replaced, 30 minutes apiece.
Yes. Yeah. So that
was an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 1 hour.
Perfect.
This was all replaced.
What'd you do with the other 23 yesterday?
And then in this picture here, I am coating it with a rust-proofing membrane.
So is that like that gritty?
Yeah, it's like a truck bed liner, basically. Okay. And then there it is, all finished.
So again, this is the cab, you said?
This is the inside of the cab. This is the cab compartment where you sit. This
is a noticeable lack of...
driver's side, passenger side.
Anything
well
outside of the floor.
A pessimist would look at it that way.
Listen, I'm an endgame guy.
An optimist sees a beautifully clean slate.
Sure, it does look beautiful. I think in referring to it as a beautiful clean slate, I don't trust your artwork then, I guess, is the result. Not based on that, just based on I don't know if there's going to be any artwork.
Oh,
you're like the artist or the author in all the movies, right? Where they're constantly getting calls from their agents.
You know what I'm going to do?
Like, hey, the book,
close that.
The publisher needs chapter 1 through 5 by next week because we've paid you up front. The only difference is you haven't been paid a penny for this. It's just taking you this long.
Sure seems like insults.
Was that the big update? The gruff floor spray?
Yeah.
That was it?
I had some other pictures, but I don't feel like...
Please pull them back up. I apologize. I will let you describe in detail
what you have done since you've spray painted the floor, which again, 30 minutes for each spot, 1 hour total.
Well, there you go. Now you get a better shot of what the driver's side looks like.
Hey, that is very clean.
It took me. I cleaned just the dashboard yesterday. I took the whole thing apart,
Sure.
cleaned every part individually. It took like 3 hours.
Oh man,
this is the one rough part here. I got to get a replacement for this piece.
What is that?
That's like the little gauges, like the idiot lights, like
got it. So it'll give you a
and-
warning.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need a new panel for it.
Yeah, it's just
okay,
just that little piece there.
Okay.
And that's a picture
T.
I took this morning.
Okay, so we've got steering wheel
T.
and T. Huh. So it's calling it over the hump, right? Which is what you did.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I think I got
Percentage wise.
Yeah.
And let's exclude the.
Let's see. That's what it looked like before I put the gruff coating.
Okay.
Came out pretty good, right?
Yeah, one was smooth, one was rough. I don't know. What do you want from me here?
There's a couple tree pictures I never posted.
Should like look
at that though. Look at that.
Took a big attaboy because it's now rough on the floor instead of the smooth.
I really feel like you're coming at me.
Because again, that's going to all be covered with upholstery.
Yeah, carpet.
And so that what you just showed me is. Couldn't be more meaningless if it wanted to be, right?
This picture right here. See,
so what we have is the side passenger door.
That is, yeah, it's the passenger door.
The passenger door is open. This is a close-up of where the bottom of the door would hit the actual body of the truck.
Yes, non-idiots call that the outer rocker panel. Non-stupid people.
What does it go back and forth, or why is it a rocker?
That is what it is called.
Okay, good.
So this piece
appreciate things that simply have names with no
make no
rationale
sense
behind them.
Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of metal missing there. So I'll show you. This is the replacement piece.
Okay, so is the metal missing? Would it typically go that would go above where you had welded? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's gonna go. Yeah, it's gonna go fill that big old gap.
Okay,
that piece was cut, trimmed, primed, welded in last night. So
okay.
I didn't take a picture of it.
But so it fits right over that side.
Fits over that side.
Okay.
Doesn't look great right now. My welds are not good.
Not anything.
I'm thinking maybe
separate from the rest of the vehicle.
Maybe taking some of that gruff coating, as you call it, from the interior, spraying it on the exterior.
Just spray it everywhere. Because who cares? You're covering it up with something else anyway. So it's literally a meaningless thing you've done. Why is it called a rocker panel? Some argue it's because the rocker panels on old vehicles from the 60s were chrome and a part of rocker culture at the time. Which is...
No idea.
Somehow...
Interesting.
Even dumber than I thought.
Yeah, that's...
And especially... And I want to take... Not a victory lap, but I want to take a lap back around. How dumb you looked at me when I said, why is it called a rocker panel? Oh, no. Not even how dumb you looked at me. How dumb you actually called me when I dared call it something else. Because how would I not know? That
I know that
sometimes
it's
in the 60s, those pieces were chrome and part of rocker culture at the time.
I know what it's called. I don't know its origin story, to put it in terms that you may understand.
Oh, boy. Okay, so I'm not asking for a completion date. I don't want timelines anymore. I told you I'm done asking you about anything.
I hope that you remember the agreement that we came to. That one day, out of the blue, you're going to get a text from me that is going to be out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
It's going to look as though it was written in code. It's going to say something like, Tango Nueve. And what does that mean?
You're going to be in my driveway momentarily for a ride.
That means that you drop what you are doing. Now, I'm going to be really disappointed if I get a text back saying like, oh, we're at the ball game for the day.
Yeah, or, we're 4 hours away staying overnight in a hotel, and you're just parked in my driveway.
I'm parked in your driveway. No doubt spewing oil out of the tailpipe.
Is there still some option that we can have some fun with this Jeep Comanche? Because I got to tell you.
Oh, look. The Comanche is built on fun.
I got to tell you, nothing
Comanche
about this.
is built on fun.
2+ year adventure has been fun. Can we get like an old-timey horn installed? So when you pull up anywhere, it's like the
Auga from
or the Awooga. Can we get one of those to maybe lighten up this whole thing, which again has been a mental and physical drain on your life for 2+ years now?
I personally will not purchase an Auga horn. Okay. I do not want you to purchase an Auga horn. But if somebody were to send us an Auga horn, I would hook it up. By the way, the horn currently does not work. Not sure why.
Shocked.
Noticed that last night when I was trying to clean the steering wheel.
What is the movie? And I don't think it's Plain Street. Where they're driving and the car horn won't stop. Oh, it's Little Miss Sunshine. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. And I love that movie.
That's going to end up happening like during the parade. We're going to go from horn doesn't work, and Chris Seinel and Ryan Young is going to hit a bump on the parade route, and all of a sudden, for the duration of the parade.
Yeah.
While poor Rusty's like digging in a hood, and he knows cars as much as me, I feel like. He's just going to be ripping things out to get the horn to stop.
Yeah, he's going to have wire cutters just cutting everything.
I am typing into Amazon because I don't know how else to search for it. Awooga horn. A-W. I went double O. A-W. Okay. I went double O.
I was going to go A-O-O-O-O-O-O-O-G-A.
A lot of O's. Let me just type in Awooga horn. Perfect. So it looks like a lot of them are listed as Ahooga.
Oh, come on. I don't want a Ahooga.
And we are in the $30 range. $27 to $31.
Absolutely not.
I'm down to $24.50. The more I scroll... And this is old stuff. It's beautiful. Chrome.
Look, if some listeners want to pitch in together and send it, actually, no, please don't, because that's one more thing that I would have to do.
I am down to $20.99 for a 110 decibel car horn.
Is that loud?
I feel like 110 decibel. I don't know why I have this frame of reference. I feel like a lawnmower is estimated in the 90s.
So it's pretty loud. You know what would be fun? Because you know what will happen. I will hook it up. And it will work incorrectly. It will not work when I push the horn. It'll only work when I use the left turn signal or something. So instead of hearing click, 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 you'll hear, "Awoo!"
Yeah.
Ga-ga. "Awoo!" Ga-ga.
Somehow I want this hooked to, on accident, your door. So that you close it and it hits an Awooga.
Like instead of the dome light coming on.
Yeah, so you want to take it to work one day and you have to back out of
no dome lights in the Comanche. So it's not a... It's a daytime driver.
Is that by design or is that simply by what's happening right now?
Some would say that the engineers did not exactly know what they were doing when they designed this. Actually, it does have lights. They don't work.
Have you ever bought a bigger piece of in your life?
Oh, well, this is a simple answer. No, I did. I bought another Ranger back in the day.
So this is when you had 2 Rangers at once?
This was actually when I had 3 Rangers.
Okay, well, listen, you're a man of many tastes. So,
but look, I bought that, but I bought it knowing that it was a piece of garbage. But it had enough good parts on it where I was able to take what I needed, sell off the rest, turn a profit.
Got it.
So this is the biggest POS I've ever bought with intention to drive it, I think. So
if I don't want time estimates, I don't want anything. Can you give me a general percentage? And I'm not even talking full completion of where you would consider 100%.
Yeah.
From where you are today to where we need to be to have this thing on the parade route in 50 days. What is the percentage estimate complete you would give?
Okay, well, first of all, I need, I think we had briefly talked about this. I do need your assistance in some way. If you could handle finding a trailer from somebody. We need I would say minimum 5x8, probably 6x10 trailer.
Is this for parade reasons?
This is for parade reasons.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to start from the back of the truck, work my way to the front.
And are you talking about the trailer so we can sit in for the parade? Okay.
Yes.
So in terms of Comanche necessity, this is an amenity for the parade only, then we'll be returned. Yeah. But I think you're correct. I want that anyway, so we can throw some decorations on the trailer and some chairs that we can sit in and record the podcast.
And obviously you are in for parade prep the day before decorating, setting up, running wires.
I figured that week before we'll need to meet multiple times in the evenings after work and stuff to be able to make sure, hey, we're 100% ready to go here, and also to finalize the beautiful, beautiful Comanche with our faces on it.
If you can handle trailer, greatly appreciate it.
Perfect.
By the way, if you're selling a trailer in the West Michigan area, 5x8, 6x10, might be in the market.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a trailer guy now.
Of course.
I mean, you're looking at pop-ups, looking at trailers.
Look.
You got a Comanche with some gruff floor on it.
Make yourself comfortable, Tobes.
You're pretty much living the dream, man.
So, let's see. I'm going to start from the back of the truck and work my way to the front because that's easier.
Okay.
I have to install the tailgate. No problem. That's a 1-minute task.
By tailgate, that's just the back, the up-down.
Yeah. Got to put
the up-down. And I would argue, for parade purposes,
don't even need it.
Not necessary.
Don't even need it.
Throw it off the list. Cross it off.
But I figure there's probably going to be some stuff in the bed of the truck, so I'd like to have that on there. Okay.
Because part of me wants you to go out to your whiteboard, because I know you've talked about this. You have your your task list of, hey, what do you need to do?
Boy, I get to cross a bunch of things.
But I want you to make a new task list.
Okay.
That's much less involved, and it's simply parade task list. Parade necessities.
Parade break even.
Yep.
Okay. I'll take a picture of that and send it to you later.
Because, again, parades are known for how many cop cars they have there. We need to make sure this thing is road acceptable so that we literally don't get a ticket while recording a live podcast during this holiday parade.
All right. So, tailgate on, no problem. I need to install the rear bumper. Again, no problem, because the hitch, obviously, or the trailer gets hooked to the rear bumper.
Yep, because you'll need a bumper, so you can have the hitch, so you can have the trailer.
Not a problem. The bumper is it's out in the shed. It's not the bumper I want to put back on, but
put it on the parade break-even list.
Parade break-even
bumper must do.
Working our way to the front. Let's see. There's nothing else in the bed. The taillights work. Everything wired up under the bed works. Fuel pump works. No problem. Now we get to the cab. I have to finish. Let's see. I welded in the new rocker panel last night. Not finished welded, though. I still have a little bit of welding to do on that. Once I finish that up, I can then put the carpet in, put the seat in, put the center console in, put the the interior panels in.
I'm hearing what it sounds like, and just hearing you list these off. Not minutia, but the big items, the engine, etc. We're not there yet on your rundown back to front, but I got to tell you that's a good thing.
I'm in this to use the term again, the paralysis by analysis phase, where everything that I have on my list has like 3 sub things below it that need to be done. Like before the carpet can go back in, I want all of the welding done because I don't want to be throwing sparks into new interior, burning holes, setting fires.
Yep.
I would say, boy, I wanted to have the interior back in last week. Blew right past that deadline. But a lot
of this goes back to you setting deadlines for yourself.
I know.
Because
unrealistic.
And I don't know what it does to you emotionally. I don't talk to you that much, and I just don't
inside.
care.
Just absolutely kills me.
Because but it's like you consistently do this.
I know.
This is like me when I was single, and I would be going out with, leaving numbers on receipts for the waitresses and being like, yeah, this is the one. And every time.
Sadie's going to call me back.
Every time was the same result, Steve. And that same result was no phone call or text message. You're doing that to yourself, though, with this saying, interior done by the end of the next weekend. Absolutely.
By the way, it's funny you brought that up because randomly I thought of a time because there was, after I broke up with my previous girlfriend, before I met Annette, there was about an 8 or 9 month period in there where I was single. I was tomcatting around.
Yep, you're singling and mingling.
On the prowl. And I remember you and I were at a bar. Might have been after a hockey game.
The city still quakes in its memories of the time Steve was singling and mingling, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Boy, they'll be talking about that for never. I do remember concocting a plan.
Okay.
That somehow worked. We were sitting at a table. We were sitting at a booth. Trying a couple of big boy soda pops. And there was a filly that caught my eye
Jesus Christ.
Is that not what people say?
Whew. At a horse track?
So we came up with this brilliant plan that instead of walking over and saying, hello, and having a conversation, no. Instead, I would write my phone number on a piece of paper.
This is all new. I don't remember this
and
whatsoever.
As we walked out, you threw it at them. Do you remember that now?
I do. I feel like the term throw.
I'm still there, by the way. I remember exactly where we were sitting.
Mm-hmm.
The booth that we were sitting.
Do you remember? Can you give me the initials of the bar or restaurant? Because I don't remember.
I'll tell you exactly. It was Grand Rapids Brewing Company.
Okay. No, yeah. I remember being there. I don't remember this exact scenario. And I don't remember this precise filly that you referenced.
Oh, I couldn't. If she walked in this room right now, I wouldn't know it was her. But yeah, I remember. I was like, hey, throw this at them. Figuring you'd just kind of toss it over, but I still remember you like... I mean, this is probably when you were in prime softball days, so you were winding up for the pitch.
Yeah, I was obviously getting loose before I went out to the bar, so I'd put on my elbow compression sleeve like an old man and loosen up the tendons so I could pitch a crumbled up piece of paper at a table of a couple of fillies.
Yeah. And I remember getting a text, I think, the next day.
You did?
Yeah, I got a text from an unknown phone number, and it just said, why did you throw this at me? But I was like, no, that was not me.
I told my friend not to.
Friend.
I begged him not to, and he was so just inebriatedly drunk. He definitely... did not understand what we needed and just whipped it like a buffoon.
Yeah, it's a wonder that didn't work out.
So that conversation didn't catch on?
I believe we
didn't meet for drinks or anything?
No. I think we texted a couple times, but it was clear that it was going nowhere.
Do you think that I had muddied or soured
I think so.
The start of that?
Yeah, you killed it before it even had a chance to blossom into a relationship.
I can only apologize. And again, hopefully next time at the track is a little better for you.
Next time I see a nice little filly. Yeah.
Steve, I had a question for you, and I don't want to spend too long on it because I know we're approaching where we lose my brother. I made a purchase this last week that I'd been kind of sitting on for a little while. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to do it. Okay. I wanted it, but I didn't want to actually do it. I don't know if you can relate to that at all, where you want the thing, but obviously you don't want to spend the money. You just don't want to go through with it.
There are a million things that I want that I will not buy.
Yes.
That I always keep an eye out for. For instance, we just talked about it. A trailer.
Yes.
I would love to have a little utility trailer. I think they're extremely, extremely useful.
And it's something...
But I'm not going to buy one,
right?
Unless I see, whoa, this is like normally they're $1,000. This one's only $100.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking for a good deal on stuff.
Do you think if you came home with that 1983 pop-up camper, do you think that would go over well?
Well, I would think that I need to start reviving my pickup techniques because I will no doubt be single. So.
Yeah, and
I'm going to have to figure out what the kids are doing these days. I don't know if they're crumpling up pieces of paper and throwing them at women.
I'll start loosening up the throwing arm so we can go to the local pub, not downtown or anything because we're too old for that. So it'll have to be like a local joint where, again, they see us at the door. They're like, listen, you can come in. We cannot have you throwing paper anymore.
Maybe we'll have to join like a Lions Club or something.
Like a old person's club where we can go get beer in a can.
Yeah, where they have things like social hours.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Or maybe a supper club.
Can we make this promise right now? And again, this is a total digression.
I promise.
If by some unholy, terrible reason you and I are both single at the same time.
We're joining a supper club?
We engage in the same... Well, we both go to the same event. We do speed dating.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't even know if they still do that or if they will still do that.
I don't think that they do.
It's in the 2020s where you now have most people simply go on their app, And
Swipe.
depending on if you're looking for a relationship or something else,
right,
you simply close your eyes and just start swiping as fast as you can.
Because you did the dating apps, right?
Yes, but this was before the apps.
Okay.
This was dating websites.
Okay.
There wasn't the ones that, you swiped or anything. No, this is where you had to put picture, profile, everything on a website. I mean, you could check it on your phone, but yeah, the idea of, what the kids have now wasn't a thing back then.
Sex at your fingertips.
It was, and this was, it's weird because that whole phase was it feels so brief.
Yeah.
Right? Before it changed to what it is now, which is the Bumbles, the Tinders, the whatever, there are, all of them. The whole collection of them. The idea that you had to sit down at a computer and do all of this and then wait for messages in your inbox.
Right.
It wasn't, that was so brief compared to the new phase.
Okay.
Of what Tinder is, where that's lasted a lot longer than that whole thing did.
All right. So God forbid both of us end up single.
Yes. And again, if that happens, I'm going to need to move in with wherever you're living because no way I'm going to be able to make it.
We'd have a pretty sweet bachelor pad.
We would. We'd have this. If things go south, we're ripping this thing out of the wall and floor.
All right. By the way, you do not get a garage parking spot.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So we're going
to... Lord knows you're going to have a new business venture to pay the rent, and it's going to consist of you and another 3 to 5 crappy vehicles.
Yeah.
Wherever we are.
All right. So we're going speed dating if we're both single.
Yep.
But we digress.
Yeah. This is something... While this item I want to buy it's expensive, but it's not prohibitive expensive. You know what I mean? It's that sweet spot to where it's an expense that if you did it on your own without telling your spouse or whatever, it would probably be a little red flag.
Do you and Katie have
everything's joint,
like a dollar amount limit though? Where obviously if you're going to the store and you're buying milk and eggs, you don't have to say, hey,
I'm not following up, right?
But is there a dollar amount when you? Because Annette and I don't really have one, but I found myself checking with her last week when I had to order something for the Comanche. Normally, when it's Comanche related, I will always run it by her because that is all completely unnecessary stuff.
Yep.
But I was buying a set. I needed a set of floor mats.
Okay.
And they were about $80. And I sent her a text. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to order these. Just is that cool?" And she texted me back. She's like, "Yeah, it's $80. You don't need to run that by me." And I was like, "I don't know," but I felt like I needed to just because it was unnecessary. Because she's run stuff by me before that I have also felt was unnecessary. Like, yeah, if you got to spend $40, spend $40. Whatever.
Yeah, but maybe she's buying into Big Bacon Steve over there.
That's
Big
true.
Daddy Dollars or whatever your name.
Big Daddy Dollars.
That's a good one.
I like it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
In terms of Big Bacon Steve or Big Daddy Dollars,
Big
I like
Daddy
both of them.
I like the alliteration on Big Daddy Dollars.
I got to tell you, 80's a good number because I feel like that's a nice cutoff point. Maybe not cutoff point, but a good dollar amount where you're like anything over that. And I'm not saying alarm bells, but if you have someone who's constantly checking a bank account or whatever, I feel like that's a purchase. A dollar amount that's okay to say, hey, what do you think? You think this is all right?
Well, if you got home in a little while after recording this podcast and Katie said, hey, I just, we needed new plates.
Yep.
I just bought some from Target's website. It's $250.
Yeah.
What would your reaction be? Would you say, I wish you would have let me know? Or would you just... Is that like all right, if we need new plates, we need new plates?
The exact conversation would go, oh, you still make X percentage more than I do every day? Lovely idea, honey. I love the new plates. Can't wait to use them and eat all of the gourmet foods I eat on them.
Okay.
Do the Hot Pockets
seems a little,
still eat on them?
A little passive aggressive.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, dear, because...
you're actually folding your hands.
Yes. And a thank you motion. Again, she is the medical professional in graduate school to make...
AKA loaded.
To make an absurd amount of money that I would never know or want to know because I don't want to know the things she knows out of those books that she reads. Gross. Yuck.
Lots of blood.
A lot of just warts. No thanks.
That's what nursing is.
Is there a good wart? You can just say the term wart, and you're thinking it's already a negative connotation.
Yeah,
right?
No one's ever said like, "Oh, that's a cute little wart."
Yeah, no. Same thing with like.
Maybe put it on the poll. Is there a good wart?
Is there good? But I would argue there's the difference between. Obviously, there's a difference between the wart and the mole because people look at who is it? Is it Cindy Crawford?
It was Cindy Crawford. Yeah.
Before that, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah,
right?
Cindy Crawford had the like right on the cheek, kind of like right in the the dimple area,
and people look at those as iconic and adding to the beauty or the character, how they look.
Sure.
But if that's a wart, is Cindy Crawford on any cover of a magazine?
Probably not. I feel like that would have been prohibitive.
I'll put that in the poll as well. If Cindy Crawford's mole was a wart, would she have ever made a cover?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. So, all right, going back to your purchase, you said that it's not... it was a decent amount of money, but not enough where you're like scraping by to make a mortgage payment this
right.
month.
No, yeah.
So do you feel comfortable saying what the dollar amount was?
Well, people will know as soon as I tell you the item.
Okay.
So what would you think if you had to guess? Because you know me, I'm not a car guy. I'm not a big expense guy.
You
either.
are, yeah. I would say you splurge on comic book stuff.
Yes.
You got that. Was it the what is it? Golden Tee.
Yes.
The Golden Tee video game. But yeah, I wouldn't say. Oh man, I can't think of any other category. Mm-hmm. Is it some kind of home improvement thing? Did you? Because I know you got your deck redone over the summer.
It was not. So this is something that the reason I struggled with it, I would argue 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it would have been less of a internal wrestling for me than what it was here.
So it would have been easier to say yes to it?
Personally, yes.
Okay.
Just because
so
of
5-10 years ago,
how much I used it and how much I indulged in this
plus
activity.
At that point, not married, it's a little bit easier to be a little more frivolous with your money.
Yep. No kid, not married yet, dating, but not to the point where you're like, hey, we need to start thinking about our future and our mortgage and everything.
Your money was your money, her money was her money.
So I struggled with this for, I would argue, weeks, and it also helped with that these are not easy to get yet.
Okay.
You still cannot find them. Like if you're walking through Target or wherever, you can't just go pick one up out of the section. Okay.
Oh, can I make a guess?
Yes, please do.
Some video game system, like a Xbox or a PlayStation.
Steve, I've been wrestling with buying a PlayStation 5.
Okay, the old PS5. What are they? $500 or
$500. If you want just the digital edition, you can get it for $400. But again, you can't really find them. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's people listening to this right now laughing away at me because I didn't know the trick or hint. But also, I didn't really want one.
Right.
Here's where I struggle with this.
$500 on something you didn't really want.
And I don't know if I should phrase it that I didn't really want, but I know with 100% certainty it's not something I needed.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay? I mean, that could be said for probably 90% of the items in our lives.
And it's compounded.
Do I need a big, comfortable chair? No.
Sure. No, that's fair.
But it's really comfortable and I like it.
Yeah.
By the way, done my coffee.
See? Maybe not as Folgers black coffee as you thought, huh?
You know, I'll try some more.
I'll bring you a different flavor next week. Again, it's spooky season. I got 3 different types of spooky coffee.
Make it the peanut butter.
I don't have. I mean, I don't know if I need to write it down. I don't have the peanut butter crunch. It's all gone.
Okay. Well, you got a week.
It's compounded by the fact that I know over the past, since we've had a kid, and I'm not using that as an excuse, or I'm just saying as a general timeline, how little I've played video games.
This gets me too, though. This would not a PlayStation or an Xbox or any video game, Switch, all that stuff I have zero interest in.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that every single time I walk into a Costco and I see those TVs right there.
Oh my God.
I think, it's only $800.
I am in very early, and by very early, I mean we don't have a new house, and we haven't even started looking for a house. We're not in the market.
Yeah,
I've started the negotiations for our new house to have 2 to 4 TVs on the wall.
2 to 4. Okay, so you're going sports pub.
You're
gonna put them up around the.
So here's part of the thing. and it ties into this a little bit. I play video games on average 2 nights a week for about 75 minutes a day.
Okay. So this is after Reed's
That's
in bed.
Monday nights and Thursday nights,
Katie's...
where I play Call of Duty Warzone with my brother, Sinal and Ryan Young, and my best friend Matt. Okay. That's it. That's 150 minutes a week, 2 hours and 30 minutes on average, right?
I think that's a very healthy amount for a man of your age, your mid-20s.
But I can't get this out of my head that I play it so little. Why did I just spend $500 on a PlayStation 5?
No, look, I think that you are perfectly fine. I think that is a fair amount. If you had, if they were $5,000, I'd probably say,
right,
$500 though. It's not. Look, if you have the money, it's not like you are again missing mortgage payments. I don't know your complete financial situation, but you don't strike me as the kind of person who has creditors calling you and late notices showing up.
Yeah.
You don't spend a ton frivolously that I know of.
Yeah.
Again, could be completely wrong. Doesn't seem like Katie does either.
Yeah.
You guys both seem very conservative money-wise. I fully support this decision. You have my blessing. So
I did not expect that.
Yeah. No, man. Look, some of us aren't judgy holes.
Well, you don't have to take that under advisement for when I meet someone like that. And I can remind them of the creed of Steve.
Mm-hmm.
To not be a judgy a-hole.
Yeah.
So, but now and the reason I bought this is also not selfish, but there is a new Call of Duty game coming out in 4 weeks from now.
Okay, what is this game called?
It's Modern Warfare 2. And again, I play this video game again twice a week for about 75 minutes a week. 75 minutes per day. I did not want to buy, and I haven't bought a Call of Duty game in 3 years. I haven't bought a video game really in 2 to 3 years. The last game I bought was like a Spider-Man game. 2 to 3 years. There's a new one coming out that I was planning on buying, but I did not want to buy it on the old system.
Okay, so you wanted to upgrade before making the purchase,
right?
Because you don't want to be left out in the cold with where everyone else is playing the updated stuff and you're playing the garbage.
Yeah, and so I kind of use that in my own brain as I feel like I need the new system so I can buy the newer version of the game so I can have it all at once instead of either buying the old edition and then having to upgrade if I ever do buy a new one.
You don't have to. You do not need to justify this to me.
To put a real bow on this circle, this kind of goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning of this episode. I get all up in my head about this stuff though, because now personally, maybe not to Katie, because I've sent links to Katie. I've tied this in with gambling because my whole idea is I'm going to pull a few hundred out of my gambling account to pay for this.
Yeah.
I sold the PlayStation 4.
Okay.
And controllers and accessories.
So how much, let's see, of the 500, how much do you think you've actually had to go out of pocket for?
I sold
out of pocket meaning...
I'm totally fine saying I sold my PlayStation 4, 7 old video games, 2 controllers and all the cords and stuff for $230.
Okay, so that offsets it. So you got another $270 that you have to spend.
Yep.
And you pulled it. Did you pull it all out of your gambling account? Which,
that's the plan.
Again, so is like free money.
Yeah, I put it on one of those cards with points so you can use whatever. You understand the game. You bought a swing set using the same system.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, it'll be around 200 and whatever that I'll have to offset it.
It's free. Honestly, if you look at that money as your free money account, it's free. We got a TV upstairs that was free because it was all credit card points. So granted, we had to spend the money on the credit card.
Sure. Yeah.
To acquire those points. But those, like the stuff that we put on the credit card had to be...
was stuff you were buying anyway.
Had to be bought one way or the other.
I'm sure Dave Ramsey would have his own thoughts about the way we're doing this and the way you've... But
look, man.
You paid the credit card off. You got the points as a reward for doing that. You bought things with those points. I think it's a beautiful system.
Sure. It's the biggest scam in the world.
Yeah.
And I am happily taking part.
I'm surprised you're not an airline mile guy.
I don't fly enough.
Like you have that the summer of the side gig, right? That happens every year. Where do you fly? Let's say May through August. How many times do you think you would fly for work?
Probably 7 or 8 times. But you figure each one of those is 4 individual flights. So I'm probably on 30 flights a year. But
in terms of flight purchases,
I mean,
it's 8 or so.
Yeah, I mean, I always use my.
Boy, I figure
like I have my mileage numbers and everything, and I always put them in. But that it takes so much, so many miles. Like
I've heard it's not very compared to what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The mileage programs offered are nowhere near the benefit that they used to be.
Well, Greg, one of my coworkers, he travels obviously for the radio show, but also an additional 10 to 12 times a year for football and basketball. Yeah. And I feel like he probably in a year he'll get a free flight or 2, or he'll get an upgrade. Bring his wife with him,
but not a flight to Hawaii, right? He's getting a free flight.
He's getting a free flight to Minneapolis
or Biloxi,
right? Exactly.
Which in the scheme of things, hey, it's nice to have that. Hey, you want to come with me? Free flight. Just granted, we're not headed to Southern California to stay in the Hilton. You're headed to Biloxi.
Yeah,
but it's free.
I have the numbers for all of the different airlines that we fly, and I always enter them when I'm booking flights, but I don't ever look at them to see what I can get. Like the last I looked at it, I think it was like, upgrade to business class for 30,000 miles. And it's like, I have 40,000 miles and it's taken me 10 years to get it. So
I'm the same way with
not worth it.
All of these sports books that I use, and I gamble, I have quite a bit of money and that I flow through in and out of there. Mm-hmm. They have rewards points and things that you can use at their hotels and you can redeem for cash.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like I look at one and I think it's just the DraftKings, and I have something like 30,000 points. And I'm like, whenever I'm near a DraftKings sponsored out resort or wherever, I should be able to get a hotel room night, right? Something. And so I look at if I want to cash those points out, because you can convert them to cash, and it's like $44.
I was going to say, you could get like free peanuts at the mini bar.
And it's so useless.
This one's on us.
Why can't we just have a point conversion that's normal? Instead of making me feel like I'm a millionaire with points, just say I've got like 8 points.
Well, that's the thing. I look at it because it's the most deceiving thing in the world with the airlines, because you look at it and you say, oh, I got 38,000 miles. That means I can fly somewhere 38,000 miles away.
Isn't that an around the world trip for me?
Like multiple times. Yeah, that is a big scam. Credit card points, great scam, though. Yes. I'm fully on board with that.
But before we get out of here, to give you a little look into as we talked about at the start of this episode, my circle of anxiety is, I guess, how I'll refer to it. Mm-hmm. I had this whole internal debate, and this went on for weeks, months before I bought this PlayStation, right? To where I had this gambling money, and then I knew the video game was coming out. So all this is happening, right?
You're trying to line it all up at the same time.
But then I decide, after we talked about the gambling thing on the podcast, I don't know if I came back and mentioned it on the podcast, and if I didn't, I'll say it now. I decided I want to get to a certain dollar amount.
Yeah.
And then cash out about $10,000 of it and pay off my student loans.
Yeah.
Because that's... one, it's being prudent, and 2, my wife's about to finish up graduate school. The next cycle's going to kick in.
Right.
So in my mind, I have this, and this is my new goal. I'm laser focused on getting these things off, on getting these things paid off, but then off in the side, like my peripheral vision, is this idiotic video game system.
PlayStation right there.
And I'm like, if I take any dollars out of this gambling account, I'm putting a dent in my ability to pay that off. Now, granted, in the scheme of things, it's going to end up being $270-ish that I'll end up reimbursing. That's a small-ish dollar amount compared to what I need to pay off the student loans anyway.
Sure.
But it's still like, I don't want to do that. I feel like I'm putting myself, like I'm untying one of my shoes on the racetrack.
Oh, boy. I fully support your irresponsible purchases. As somebody who has made many irresponsible purchases in my life, I need you down there in the trenches with me.
What is your, in adulthood? Because obviously, Jet Steve is in a class of its own.
It sure is.
And I would argue
thought about that the other day.
I would argue we need another award for just that. Like in terms of irresponsible adult purchases, the Jet Steve needs to go next to our two Pole Badness tournament winners.
You know how we have the Plymouth Prowler up there in the little sealed case? I need one of a 2007 Yamaha VX 110 Sport. Do you
Hang on, slow down. It's 2010 Yamaha VX Sport.
VX 110 Sport.
VX 110 Sport.
Now, I believe it was available
in
black and red. Mine was the white and blue color combination.
Couldn't we just send a picture like that to our friend Cy Nolan Ryan Young?
And he could 3D print it.
And he could and I don't know if it'd be wood or if it'd be plastic or what material. I don't care. As long as we could have it displayed next to the purple 1999 Plymouth Prowler that's on our memento shelf, one of our memento shelves. I think that would be a delightful addition, Steve.
Oh, boy, there she is.
We don't have time today, but what I want from you next week, outside of Jet Steve, your adult purchase that you would argue is comparable to me just having this internal battle to buying the PlayStation 5.
All
that
right.
Maybe you regret it, maybe you don't. That's not the point.
Dollar amount you want roughly in that.
We can go in between $250 to $1,000, right? Because everybody's willy-nilly or overthink a purchase price is a little bit different than everybody else's. So yeah, let's get to that next week. I'd be curious on here. And if you have a list, that's fine too. Well, I always love a top 5 list.
Yeah. I'm off the top of my head, I can't really think about it.
I don't want you to ruin it.
I don't want you to ruin it. I'm going to give it some thought.
I want to put a bow on before we get out of here, though. We were talking about the Jeep Comanche, and I believe I asked you for a percentage to parade completion, and you were starting to go back to front on the Jeep Comanche. Yeah. Would you feel comfortable putting a number or percentage on that compared to where you are now to parade ready in 50 days?
I would say, because I got a lot of the nitty gritty stuff done. That's the stuff that always takes the most time.
Does it get more fun for you when you're done with the nitty gritty, the boring? Because while you see what the rocker panel does and what you see removing the rust from the floor does, overall, that's not the fun items where you see progress on the Jeep.
Yeah.
Does it get more fun for you now that you're starting on bigger items or more important items on the Jeep?
Yeah, because it's the more exciting stuff.
Right.
Once the carpet goes back in, once I see carpet in there, and I put that newly upholstered
Are you doing that yourself?
Seat in there.
The carpet and everything?
Oh, I already have. I've had the carpet for months.
So you're is it just like a certain glue that you use to...
You don't even glue it. It's made specifically for the truck, so it has the shape is already molded in. I'll just have to trim it out.
Okay. Apologies for the interruption. I was curious if you needed to
That's okay.
pay an upholsterer.
Any other time you need to ask the stupidest question I've ever heard, you feel free to just put your hand up. I'll call on you.
Would that be the stupidest or the second stupidest compared to the rocker panel question I asked 25 minutes ago?
Look, I don't know if you want to shine a spotlight on that once again.
Again, the piece of a truck which we think may be based on 60s rocker culture.
All right, so you're asking for what now?
A percentage or a number, or however you want to phrase it, from right now to parade ready. Completion of the Comanche. Not 100% Steve ready. Parade ready.
Okay, so little finish welding today. Carpet goes in.
A little Saturday welding, huh?
Yeah, a little SW.
Putting in the old work.
The interior panels are pretty much ready. I just got to clean them up a little bit. A little spit and polish. Redo the headliner. A little kill mat in there to keep the vibrations and sounds down. Mm-hmm. I would say 65%.
Okay. So it's been 2 years and we're at 65% and we have 50 days to get that last 35 for parade ready.
Parade ready.
Are there four wheels?
And then anything above parade ready is just, it's extra credit.
It's bonus. It's bonus baseball.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel